out of this.
Getting the best out of it, Arocho says, but let's shift gears to probably the story that has made for a lot of talking points, and that is football. And we are talking of Kandanda House, where one Nick Kithuku Mwendwa could be making a return to the FKF House after more than a year in the cold. Last week rather, he wrote a letter to Zurich, the FIFA headquarters. And Shitera, this is where I'm bringing you in. We discussed this last week. It's now all clear. We are having a new government in place effective tomorrow. And there is the letter on the screen, which Nick Mwendwa actually sent to FIFA boss Infantino. And if I could quote a part of it, that's the second paragraph of that letter. In this regard, following the withdrawal of charges by the Director of Public Prosecutions on July 8th, I hereby wish to inform your good office that I have resumed my duties as the FKF President with immediate effect in accordance with Article 42 of the FKF Constitution 2017. The Federation has made significant progress towards complying with the FIFA Directive of February 24th, 2022, with a meeting scheduled in the coming days with the newly elected Kenyan government to actualize the lifting of the FIFA sanction and Kenya's return to international football. Kindly accept, dear President, my utmost gratitude. We did talk about this last week, and all pointers were either Nick Mwendwa and team resigns from office to have a new team so that the sanction could be lifted, or the government returns them into office with no conditions.
Take it from me, I will support Nick Mwendwa.
Finally, the change of...
I'll support Nick Mwendwa for the simple reasons that the caretaker committee or the transition committee has made Nick Mwendwa look like an angel. And as it's always said, better the devil you know than the angel you don't know. Yes, there were problems, but the way they were sorted out was not the right way. And I think Nick Mwendwa has learned his lessons. Football stakeholders have learned their lessons. And we are starting on a new plate. And what I would encourage Nick Mwendwa is to incorporate all the stakeholders. That was lacking. The decision you make might not solely guide you the right direction if you are not incorporating all the stakeholders on the table. I might have a view that will help you, but by ignoring me or the other person, you will end up making a decision that will not help the Kenyan football. I remember football in Kenya, it's a public, I would say, venture, and whatever Nick does, it's for the interest of all Kenyans, football-loving Kenyans. Football is the most favorite sport, and it's loved and followed by many. We have really been comforted by the English Premier League all this long, and what my prayers will be to Nick Mwendwa would be that let's make football in Kenya great again. I think he has done the right thing. So many prayers that were made by FIFA, he has answered them. When he was facing charges, he stepped down and wrote a letter saying that the deputy, Doris Petra, takes over. I thought at that point, and I think we also advised the CS Sports, Amina Mohammed, to take that opportunity and write to FIFA, tell them that, look, the vice president has taken over, and in our good faith, we will work with her. We agree to reinstate the federation. I think that was the best way Amina should have done to recover the football glory that was lost during her tenure. But she decided to extend a term of the caretaker committee A caretaker committee that I can tell you they have never held a single press conference to tell us what their mandate is, to tell us what they plan to do, to tell us how they will return the Kenyan football back. And it is unfortunate that even what they oversaw is somewhat null and void. The FKF Premier League season has gone...
They just ended campaign, yeah.
It ended, but to the drains. So the first assignment that Nick Mwendwa, because I believe by him writing this letter, he must have spoken to the administration at FIFA. I think it's a direction that he's taking to communicate officially, because out of the letter, I want to understand that he might have communicated. And this is an official communication that he has put forth. And I can promise you the FIFA ban will be lifted, because we have complied with everything that they had asked us to do.
Just hold it right there.
Reinstate the federation.
Just hold it there. Arocho, before you come in, let's have a look at the timelines of the FKF and the DCI's part over alleged charges on alleged misappropriation of funds. If we can just have that up, Winnie. And actually, you can see on November 11th, 2021, that's when CS Amina disbanded the federation and formed a caretaker committee. And then the same day, actually, Nick Mwendwa called a presser hitting out at Amina over the move. Then a day later, that's November 12th, Nick Mwendwa is arrested over alleged misappropriation of funds. The funds in question here is around 35 million. On November 15th, 2021, Nick Mwendwa again walks scot-free after the prosecution fails to prefer charges. Then on July 6, 2022, the DPP withdraws the charges. Then interestingly, a day later, he is rearrested. On July 8th, 2022, again, the DCI withdraws the charges. Then on February 24th this year, FIFA announces the ban on Kenya, effectively meaning we can't compete in international football, both the national team, club level, and all other junior sides within the national ranks. August 9, Kenya, of course, heads into the general election. The state of football still in quagmire. August 15th, Deputy President, now President-elect, Ruto is declared the winner of that hotly contested election. Then August 16, of course, Nick Mwendwa and CEO Barry Otieno hails Ruto's victory. And we discussed this here, which was quite telling. And of course, now the letter is just written. If you follow, Arocho, the chronology of events, and Nick Mwendwa raised this, saying that it was all politics. These charges couldn't be sustained, and probably, true to his words, they have not been sustained. What's your thought?
Well, I'll go back a bit. My response will be in twofold. One, first of all, the future of sports in this country will be determined from tomorrow. When the president-elect will be sworn in, because I'm looking at a chronology of events that will commence tomorrow. And then, of course, a day or two, the president will appoint his cabinet. Yeah. And from there is when we can see things happen. I think we're jumping the gun, because the government has not really pronounced himself, yes. And two, the courts have not pronounced themselves. Remember, there's a court case on the 21st in Kiambu High Court. There'll be there's a case on to determine if Nick Mwendwa is to be charged once again, because there was a case. They wanted to recharge him. Then he made an application in court to object that. So the determination is coming on the 21st of August in Kiambu Court. I think court number 3. So once that happens, if in any case the court sees that he should not be charged, then of course whatever we are talking about will happen. But if in any case the court prefers a charge on him, then of course we are going back to the quagmire. I've talked about this severally here, that the solution of Kenyan soccer will not be in courts. it will be a political solution. What do I mean? I mean that for us to be reinstated, FIFA has to listen and hear from Nick Mwendwa. And if in any case the government or the courts insist that they still have a case against Nick, then we are still back in that quagmire. And that's why I'm talking about political people sitting down and agreeing that, okay, yes, there were issues. Nick Mwendwa, we've seen that he is innocent. Politically, we take responsibility, because as a new government, you take responsibility of the previous government. You cannot come in and say...
But again, still staying on the same, those tweets were quite telling. Immediately, Ruto was declared winner. We saw Barry come out.
That's why I'm saying it's a political thing. This thing will not be solved in courts. It's political. And that's why I'm saying once we've solved our problem in Kenya, politically sat down, perhaps the CS, and I'm urging the president to take this as his pet project. Because if the president pronounces himself in this, then the protagonists will sit down and of course we'll have a solution. But if we follow the court route, then we'll be stuck, because FIFA will not hear from us if they don't get clearance from Nick Mwendwa.
But you see, that's what people have been saying, the wheels of justice. Justice delayed is justice denied. The wheels of justice roll so slowly in this country. Probably some football fans would have thought, probably if he pilfered funds, by now the prosecution should have a watertight case, prove it before the court, and probably we see a judgment. But that has not been forthcoming. That has not happened.
But I see a situation that, in this case, I want to side by Nick Mwendwa, because, look, he was charged, and he said, I agree, I've been... no, he was not charged. He was arrested.
He was arrested.
Yeah. And he said, instead of holding the Kenyan football at ransom, let me hand over to my deputy. Then negotiate with FIFA so that we can get back to action. So even if Nick Mwendwa will be charged, I think his communication earlier still stands, that you will have my vice president who will take over from me, negotiate with her, get the Kenyan football back to the pitch, then we can move on as I sort out my problems in court. I think that is a good gesture that we should all agree with. And by him congratulating the president-elect, I think it's okay, because the president has been elected. He deserves a congratulation.
Even me, I congratulate.
Yeah. He deserves congratulations from every Kenyan. So it is in his own right as a Kenyan to appreciate that we have a new leader. I have to congratulate him. So we cannot crucify him based on that. And FIFA is very categorical that reinstate the federation, then we can talk. And but Nick Mwendwa is not standing in the way. He says, even if I'm having my own tribulations, we have a duly elected federation in place.
Right.
In my absentia, my deputy will run the affairs. And that is what he's saying. So even if he's charged tomorrow, he said tomorrow.
No, on the 21st.
On 21st. Even if he is charged, I think Mwendwa's message is very clear and in tandem with what FIFA is demanding. Let us have Doris Petra take over, negotiate with FIFA, and I'm very sure the government that will come in, considering what the caretaker committee and the transition committee has taken us through, it will agree with Mwendwa and it will communicate to FIFA.
In a minute,
I have one
because, with the interest of time, we have a lot to cover. I just want you to respond in a minute. And Jaro Soja, I want you to tie it this. It's just texted saying, the most important thing, Swila, is President Ruto to bring us a sport CS who understands football. And that's what, not really football, but sports. This is what Shitera has been saying. How do you see things panning out?
I've been pleading with the president since the day. In fact, I'm among the first people who congratulated the incoming president on my Facebook page. And in fact, I got a backlash. But for me, we need to move on. The sports fraternity is somehow stuck. That's why I talked about him appointing the CS. The CS will be key. And that's why I'm saying we don't need just a CS. in the Ministry of Sports. For the first time, all along, it has been any other ministry, energy, finance,
transport.
Everybody else picks. And then sports is left there for the guys who perhaps came in.
Not do much.
Yeah, do not do much.
Yeah.
So I'm pleading to the president. But going back to the initial issue, have you ever heard Doris Petra talking? The handing over was done to Doris Petra. Have you heard her say anything?
Because you don't have a
Just
platform.
a moment.
Yeah.
Secondly, the moment things changed, have you heard Doris Petra saying that I've now handed back to...
But
Just
you
wrap
see,
it up, guys.
but you see, you will talk when you are given an opportunity. Kama umenyongwa utaongelelewa, sauti itatokea wapi?
Roger, let's move the discussion forward. And still staying local, of course, build-ups for the Kenyan Premier League are ongoing, and Gor Mahia travelled down to the coast to face Bandari in a Premier League match, which they lost 2-1. Arocho, what does this point? Gor have lost quite a number of players. In KPL, a number of players are leaving. But this defeat, do you foresee the league kicking off, first of all, on 24th? Remember, it was postponed. Do you think we are ready for that kickoff?
We are not ready for the kickoff because, first of all, even referees have not gone for the PET, that is physical endurance test.
Yeah.
So that means even if we want to play, the referees are not ready. Secondly, I think the caretaker committee, or whatever you call it, they're procrastinating. I think they've reached a point that they cannot make decisions. They need somebody else to make their decisions, and a substantive federation or a substantive minister will make that decision. For Gor Mahia and the teams, I think they just need to prepare. I like what Bandari are doing, good recruitment. It's one of the teams that is going to be very strong getting into the new season. I saw their friendly match against Posta Rangers at Toyoyo Stadium about a fortnight ago. It's one of the teams to look up to this season. Another team. Yes, Bandari.
And Anthony Kimani.
It was not just a fluke for them to pick a point or to win against Gor Mahia, yes. Another team that needs to be looked into is Police FC, a very good pre-season in Rwanda.
Did they play a friendly?
They didn't go for friendly.
They were not touched because of this bad we're talking about.
They didn't go for a friendly. They didn't go for...
They went for what?
For a holiday?
It was a wrong... It was a wrong notion. They went for a camp. They went for a camp.
Arocho comes back to what I've always raised here.
No, Swila.
They have to get it
Swila,
right.
I followed that thing to the letter.
But,
so
okay.
They went
Police
to a camp
FC
in Rwanda to do what?
Went to Rwanda for a camp. They are preparing. It's a pre-season.
So it was a holiday?
No, pre-season.
Come on.
A pre-season can be done at Kasarani.
But you pick your pre-season going by your
they
capability.
actually lined to face up even some of the top 10
Yeah.
in Rwanda. And
but because of the ban, it was impossible.
Because of the ban, we can't
talked
play
to the coach. I talked to the management. They told us, guys, when we were leaving Kenya, our mission was to go and have a camp.
But again,
a pre-season.
Allow me to press.
Okay. What is the purpose of a camp, a pre-season camp?
Just to condition yourself ready.
My thinking is,
in Rwanda,
they could have said that,
yes.
right? But do you think they're being honest, or it's a public relations exercise?
Public relations exercise.
Well, 2 against 1. I'm not saying that I might be right or you people are wrong. But the point here is this.
Yes.
That is the report I got. I was just talking about the teams to expect this season. Police is also very strong. The kind of recruitment they've done, the technical bench.
The kind of holiday they have done.
No, the kind of pre-season they've done, not holiday.
Have they played a pre-season match?
Shitera, we have very few minutes left. Let's move over to Europe. And let's begin with your very own Chelsea. And we are seeing lots of blues at Stamford Bridge. The sacking of the German was not seen coming, Shitera. Where does this leave Chelsea, first of all?
It was
what are your thoughts on that sacking?
It was not seen coming, but the owners really were putting some signals up there. Because when Abramovich left, I think Thomas Tuchel was given so much powers. But again, I think he overstepped his mandate in this regard. When you start arguing with your boss, I think that is where the biggest problems will check in. You see, the owners were of the idea that, yes, you've shipped out Lukaku, you've shipped out Timo Werner, and in this scenario, we don't have a formidable striker. It was their suggestion that, look, Cristiano Ronaldo is hanging out there. Let us snap him. Thomas Tuchel was not convinced by the ideas, the idea, and he told them off. You see, that is where I will tell you the problems began. Because
I want to ask you a question, Shitera.
Yes.
Now, the board or the owners want to bring a new coach, and
yes.
the tactician says, no, I don't think this player fits in my plans. Or I don't need it. You've given this man to do the job. Should
yes.
he have the final say?
Then he had the final say. But again, he will be judged by what he does in the pitch. You go play against Southampton. You don't have a striker, you are defeated. So how do you explain your decision?
Arocho, the bringing on board the Brighton coach, former Brighton coach, is that the panacea? Is that the solution?
No, I think for me it's just an interim. They have given him a long kind of contract.
Yeah.
But why am I saying he's an interim? He'll not survive. The heat, if what Shitera is saying is anything to go by, the heat there is too much. Shitera, don't just try to manage us. Don't try to manage the expectation of your fans. The problem with Chelsea at the moment, if what you're saying is anything to go by, is that you guys are dictators. You know, I'm the coach. Give me my job. Let me mess my job.
But he has messed.
Wait, yes, he messed.
Yes.
Do you know how many days Tuchel was a coach at Chelsea?
Yeah, it's
not past 350.
But he has won everything, so he can leave.
No. Oh. You guys were going down. Is that right? Chelsea were losing left, right, and center. In fact, there are times that you are not even sure Chelsea are not even to turn out for a match. So
is Chelsea now winning left, right, and center?
The death of the Queen has really helped you. The death of the Queen, with all due respect to the Queen, has helped Chelsea because you've been given another 2 weeks to organize yourself.
And we will organize ourselves.
Now, Shitera.
Because look at it. Look at it.
I want you to tie it this way.
Look at it.
Time,
yes.
Aubameyang actually was looking forward to a reunion.
Yeah.
And that has not happened.
It has not happened.
What does it mean for him?
No. He has a place. He has been coached by Arteta. He performed well under Arteta. So it doesn't matter. A good player will play. Look at it this way. Apart from leaving Lukaku and the likes of Timo Werner leave without proper explanation, this is a coach who, again, started messing up with the academy. We have a player in Gallagher. We have this other player who left to Brighton, remember? Who had great expectations in Graham Potter, but unfortunately they swapped places, leaving to Brighton and Graham coming to Chelsea. You see, the philosophy that Graham has is a coach who really nurtures talent. It can only remind me of Arsene Wenger. Gallagher has really been a good player at Crystal Palace, but the management of this player at Chelsea has been wanting. All these issues are put on the table are the issues that really opened the door for Thomas Tuchel to leave. And give, as I usually say, give Graham Potter his opportunity. Let us see what he can do, then we judge him. We have seen what Thomas Tuchel has done, and we have seen what he cannot do. So let us not judge him, even without kicking the ball, Arocho.
Arocho, our time is up, but in 30 seconds, Bayern seemingly are stuttering in Germany. Can you sum up that season? What's happening? What's the way forward?
Well, I think I'll refer to transition. At times, soccer, things don't really work instantly. It's not instant coffee. It will take time, but the moment Bayern will pick their groove, I think it will be one of the toughest. Give them 3 or 4 months from now, you'll see them doing well. Initially, Mane started so well, but he needs to acclimatize, and that's what perhaps is happening at Bayern. They're going to be back with a bang.
But as they say in Germany, they call it Bavaria. In Bavaria, they're not very patient, just like Chelsea. We see coaches being fired left, right, and center. Could he turn it around this weekend?
They will do well. It's just a matter of time. In the league, I don't think that Bayern have any kind of opposition. Yes, they've been picking draws here and there, but there's no opposition for Bayern in Germany. The only place where things might get hot is in the Champions League. And I believe that they still have time.
Lewandowski leaving for Barcelona, I think, was a blow to Bayern Munich. And I'm really feeling sorry for that coach. As you say, he might not last. His days are numbered. Bayern are never patient, as you say.
Well, they're never patient. My director tells me also I have to get off the set. That's all the time we had for. We would have loved to go it on and on. But of course, always make a date with us here on Citizen TV. Of course, this Sporty Monday, the most authoritative sports magazine show we have in this part of the world. My name is Isaac Swiller. Thanks for keeping us company. See you again, same place, same time next week. Bye-bye from us now.